Welcome to B-Flicks, your gateway to inspiring stories and meaningful conversations. Dive into a world of creativity and growth with our collection of short films, real-life documentaries, and engaging podcast episodes. Whether you're looking for personal inspiration, entertainment, or a deeper understanding of life's journeys, B-Flicks has something for everyone. Visit our website at www.bflix.co.za to explore our content library and subscribe for more updates. You can also connect with us on Facebook at B-Flicks Live. Start your adventure with B-Flicks, where stories come to life.
The bail has been set.
He's still standing.
Yeah, the bail is still standing. Do you see anybody here in the courtroom that's here for you? I thought there was nobody, but when I turned around, my father was there. My addiction started long before I used drugs. I wasn't born an addict, but the day I used my first substance, an addict was born.
Life doesn't get any easier. We grow stronger and build resilience. The tougher we get, then we are ready to withstand any storm. Welcome to another session again here. This is Thapelo, Echoes of Addiction. With a new session in mind, I have a brother of mine here coming very far, Mr. Anwar. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Thapelo.
How are you, sir?
I'm blessed, my brother, and I cannot fail. I cannot fail not to be grateful.
Come on now.
Come again?
I said, come on now. Yes.
Come on now. Okay, yes. Cool. So ja man, baie dankbaar vir die feit dat ek kon gekom het, dat God my gebring het en vir die feit dat julle my gevra het om bietjie iets te sê.
Yes.
Vandag oor baie groot en touching subject.
Come on, thank you, Anwar. Anwar, I know you for a short period. I wouldn't say for a long period. You are my sponsor. I know you in recovery, but there's something very special about you as an individual, right? And I know you've been years in the program now, but I want us to start this program, this session from a very different point of view. So I want us to start where, how can I put this? How was your life with your parents, both your parents?
Okay, my parents. So I was born as the second born child to both my parents, but both my father and my mother. I had other children, but with my siblings, which we are three, I am the middle child. I have a younger sister and an elder brother. Growing up, my childhood days was fairly good. Both my parents were available, and my mother and my father both used to work. My father later went into business ventures, but he was quite a handyman. And for the most time that I can remember, my father was around from childhood up until early teenagehood. To be precise, 12 years old, say around 12 years old.
Okay.
So yeah, me being a very naughty boy growing up, I always still think I had a huge listening problem.
Yes.
My parents taught us well, but I didn't listen that well. So I always ended up in trouble for not listening and for not being able to follow my father and my mother's directions. And they were quite strict parents,
Yeah.
Nie soos vandag nie. I come from a time when they would beat you up. They would beat you up.
They would, yeah.
And I understand today that they were doing it from a point of love.
Okay.
At the time when I was still growing up as a toddler and a child, little child, 5-6 years, and into my early teenagehood, ja, nou, ons was sommer geslat met extension cords en was dan
Enige ding wat hulle kon.
ja, die koppie wat daar staan,
Ja.
hulle gooi sommer met die vaas, ek ken nie jy nog hy katvaas en nou. Hulle
Wat in
gooi
die
so
vensterbak
ja, hulle
gestaan.
gooi sommer met die katvaas en anything that that my mother especially could get her hands on. En op vandaag se show wil ek my father's late now, since 2008. And I wouldn't want to speak bad about the man,
Yeah.
Today I value him, and since that I'm a little matured and know a little bit more about life, I understand where he came from.
Okay, so let's just track back. You said that he left your life around 12 years.
When I was 12 years, yeah.
So by that time, whilst you were 12 years old, what went through your mind the time when he started now distancing himself from you? Did he what happened that he just decided to leave?
Right, so he never distanced himself,
Okay.
He was busy with his own dealings and wheelings that got him into trouble and ended up him being arrested for a very long time. Back then, the policing system wasn't the same, Police would come early hours of the morning, wake us up and turn the house inside out looking for whatever they were looking for. And I'm just a small little boy, and that never happened once, that was part of my upbringing.
Oh.
Cops would early hours of the morning come looking for him and search the house and sometimes find him and sometimes beat him, and he was kind of a macho man, and
Okay.
try to fight back and resist. And this one day when they fetch him, and he'd always come back, obviously, when they do that. He'll go, come back. Sometimes they don't take him. But then this one day they took him and he never came back. And little did I know that he wasn't going to come back for a very long time. I can't say exactly how long, but it could be over 20 years. Over 20 years of my life, I ended up seeing my father whenever I was given the chance to, from behind bars or from behind a visiting window.
Yes.
Yeah, visiting window at one of the prisons. I started knowing prisons because my father was in one, and he got transferred from various prisons. And one of the saddest things was, and I have to take you back a little bit, because
Yes.
my father, hy was 'n regte toppie man. Hy discipline geïnstil in ek en my broer in a way that he knew how. But he was a man of many talents, and was a hard-working man. And I remember in my family, my extended family, like his sisters and his brothers, they looked up to him, for whatever reason they looked up to him. And he was a guy who he valued family quite heavily,
Yes.
Yeah, he valued family, because growing up we would always be at my grandmother's house. That was sort of like the headquarters.
Yes.
And my father would always, when we have to go out, like back then it was before it was Nazareth, it was some other thing. It was some sort of a carnival type iets, merry-go-rounds.
Oh, Rancho.
Ja, Rancho, dat is de
Rancho,
rechte
okay.
naam. Ja, mijn
Yes,
pa had ons altijd, hij is al die hele familie gevaardigd.
okay.
And he was a strict guy, and he loved family values, And he was there for us. He saw to our needs. Hij had gemaakt ons naar school toe gaan.
Yes.
He taught us, me and my brother. Ik kan vandaag werken met mijn handen, thanks to him, And yes, he was my hero.
So met al die principles, ne, en al die guidance wat jou pa jou gegee het. Do you think the day when you realized that you was no longer there, those principles faded away?
No, I wouldn't say that, I think parents instill principles into their kids long before they even know it, you know, and long before they even realize it. Only thing that I see now that you ask the question, is at the time when he was teaching me those principles, I didn't see it as valuable.
Yo.
En ek kon nie verstaan het hoekom wil my pa hê ek moet so is of so doen. I just thought, nah, and I guess that's probably how the young man of today is thinking, that no, I wasn't there when they were around, the times are different, you know. But yeah, nou ken ek nou bietjie beter dat hy toppie het my eintlik iets geleer wat valuable is in lewe. Hy was a respectable ou, uitgesmile. He was also a no-nonsense guy, up front, you know, and also he had his own things on the side. Okay. Well, I can't judge him on that.
So, hy het nou gedisappear in jou lewe, right? And you say for approximately 20 years. So, within that 20 years, let's say after his disappearance, when did you start your addiction?
My addiction started way before he even left.
While he was present?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was some of the stuff I got beaten for, you know.
Okay.
So just a rundown on my addiction. So my addiction started long before I used drugs. I wasn't born an addict, but the day I used my first substance, an addict was born. And that first substance, if I think back, and I'm going to be very honest, I spoke about this earlier today also, was inhalants, you know. I used to see my brother's also an addict, and I used to see my brother do certain things. By my pa se VW mall of fish kumbi wat ons en ek het gevolg en dieselfde ding gaan doen terwyl my broer nie daar. And I like that feeling, you know. I saw my brother use inhalants like the furniture polish in the toilet, in the cleaning cupboards, and air freshener in the you know. Back then I didn't know that stuff was gonna get me to a point of perpetual using of any mood and mind altering substance. I just thought, no, I'm using this stuff, and when I have to stop, I will stop. And my father would come home and ek ryk na die petrol en dan kry ek dit Boeta, dan kry ek dit. My brother as well, you know, and there was times when I thought my father didn't love us to eat us like that, you know. And I didn't see that he didn't want us to do that. I only saw the way he beat us, and that was probably the only way he knew how to instill discipline, and he wasn't wrong. I was wrong in using. I wasn't supposed to be doing that. And also, besides now the drugs, I'm an addict long before drugs don't make me an addict. Throwing tantrums from a very young age.
Yes.
That's and I like that, you know. Stealing stuff, you know. My father was a businessman. I remember hoe het ek hulle geld gesteel. As hy used to kom met die checkings van die taxis en goed soos hy. As nog hy dik 50 rand. Yeah, and I remember stealing. If I went to some friend's house, I would steal their toys and come home with it. And besides the stealing and the tantrums, when asked about it, I would lie and say hulle het my gegee. En hy is alles vorms van addiction, lang voor ek drugs begin gebruik. And then sometimes, eventually, the parent whose child I stole from would end up by our house, and I'll end up in trouble, and dan word ek weggeslaat. Verstaan jy? For lying and for stealing.
Yes.
So that time, drugs wasn't. I didn't every day, yeah.
The issue.
But the stealing, lying, cheating, that was always.
So I want to ask you this following question. So you said you think that your father didn't love you, that's why he did you like that, right? Do you think that his absence give you like an authority to start doing things because now he's no longer there and now you have like this? Because now remember, whenever you would do something, he would beat you. Now he's no longer there. Did that like give you like the opportunity now to do whatever you want?
So I've said it before in my share, Thapelo. So growing up, I know that I was a scared little boy, afraid of a lot of stuff, and until I started what I started at a young age, and also a lot of happenings in my life, was sort of like numbing the fear. And every time my father beat me, it was sort of numbing the fear. But like I said, my father was a macho man, stand-up guy, and he was feared in some form, and I feared him. So obviously, when I was even doing the stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, I would be fearful of my father. I'm gonna have to go home, and I'm gonna meet up with my father, and my father's gonna notice. And I remember there was days when I came home after doing something that I shouldn't have did. Like, see, it's an easy thing. Not, let's put the substances out of the equation. Ek was uit met my chommies van die skool af, en ons het gaan speel, top of wat ook al, en ek het die honde opgetel, of ek het the simple mundane things that a young boy has to do. En as ek by die huis kom, my father's car is parked there already.
You maak werk klaar.
Ek is klaar bang om in te gaan. And I remember I would stand by the door and literally pray that, God, please help me. My father mustn't hit me tonight, So yeah, there was a lot of fear. Obviously, when he left, and I had already started using by then, it was like in the world of active addiction, the robot said green for me. And that had a huge impact on me progressing deeper, not only into substance use, but other things. For example, the man who was teaching me how to become a man was no longer there. And unconsciously, I was going to go out there and look for some other man to do that.
Come on.
And I found myself in circles that I thought, no, these macho Owens and these are the type of guys that's going to show me how to become a man. But I didn't know what a man was back then.
So it should have been very easier for you to just get in any crew and anyway, because now the person that you expected to teach you something was no longer there. And I think if I can just imagine myself, I think you had now freedom, right? You had freedom to everything, because I think, as you said, your father was feared, and I think some people took you under their wing because of his fear that they maybe have for him. Or what do you think?
True. Freedom, yes, a lot of freedom, but even though my mom, let's not forget, my mom was also a strict woman,
Okay.
And but I knew that my mom was not gonna handle me. My mom was not gonna handle me and my brother. Because from a young age, me and my brother was already causing a lot of chaos, to the point where even in my extended family, we'd always be dubbed as the two naughtiest boys or naughty boys in the family. Especially my brother. I was still a little bit smaller, But when my father went, just like you said, freedom, robots green. Do whatever I can, whenever I can. And more than that, my mother was gone to work daily. My sister was still very small. She would go to nursery. And my elder brother, his addiction had taken on a different turn altogether, and he was always on the streets. And I would always find myself alone at home, and easily to do stuff for when I get back from school and do stuff all by myself.
Yeah. So that you know a new addiction and gemove it, right? Obviously you different mense gemeet, jy different drugs gemeet. Wat sal jy sê was die ding wat jou gehou het in addiction? Because ek dink jy moes al opportunity gehad het in jou lewe waar jy gesê het, I don't want to live this life, but there was this thing that kept you there. What was that thing?
Hey, Buta, that is a deep question. Huh? Honestly speaking, ek kan nie sê wat het my daar gehou nie. But I do know, ek het 'n lang tyd in my lewe geprobeer om te sê nee, ek wil ophou. Ek wil ophou. I guess I was probably 13, 14, 15. And every year, dan moet seker elke jaar daai gewees het waar ek wil ophou. Ek wil ophou. Ek wil ophou. Ek gaan ophou. But in the midst of all of that, I'm young and I'm dumb.
Yes.
I don't know much about life, but I think I do. Ek dink suffering from a broken heart of a father that is no longer there, that used to be there. You know, irrespective of what how my father hit us for, reprimanded us for doing the wrong stuff. It's nice having a father around, bro. You know. And it's sad to say that today, you know. It's biased, no matter say. But yeah, so he wasn't there, and the freedom and the effects van hom nie daar is was somewhat devastating, you know. And you know what boys do? And funny, because I say Swaro might say I see it happening in my own life today, you know, with my own son. And we'll speak about that a little bit later. So what you do in a situation, what I did in that situation, I wanted to man up, you know. I wanted to do even though I didn't know how to be a man, I wanted to man up in the house and do stuff. I found myself now becoming a young parent to my sister, you know. I always used to do. Then I liked doing chores. I learned how to cook and stuff because of that. When my mother comes, stuff must be ready. Stuff that my father used to do, like wait for my mother with the car at the bus stop. I would now go and do it met my foot off, verstaan nie? Wag vir my ma by die bus stop.
Ma, dink jy al die wat jy gedoen het was because you wanted to man up, or was it just to feed the addiction?
I think it was actually trying to heal a broken heart. Okay. Because daddy is not there.
Oh.
Feeding the addiction, I think feeding the addiction came as a result of the disease I suffer from. I have an obsession. I start thinking about drugs, I'm going to go use.
Okay.
I start thinking, I'm just wired like that. That when I started thinking of doing something, I would find something. That is why I didn't have no drug of choice. I used anything and everything. If I wanted to feel a certain way, or maybe it's because I wanted to escape feeling a certain way. And I needed something that could make me not feel that way. So I would use the furniture polish or the glue or the petrol or whatever else came as they came with the years going. Weed and everything else then goes up. Alcohol. Didn't really like it, but I used it. I used alcohol a lot.
Do you think that you were like an emotional being? You had a lot of emotions, and you think that you were too, I don't know how to put the question, but was the emotion so much that you never had time to look at the emotions?
Not that the emotions were so much. I didn't know what emotions were.
Okay.
I'm small. I'm 16, 17. Maybe up until, I think I got stuck at age 12 or maybe even at age 7 when all these feelings of, why is my father beating me? And a lot of ingratitude. Why am I born into this family? And a lot of other stuff. Social ills in the house between my mother and my father also. Those stuff affected us.
Yes.
You know, most definitely affected us. Social ills of my father's in-laws and my mother's in-laws, and the way we get treated as a result of their things, you know. And a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. Things happening in our neighborhood, you know. Coming from a I'm colored by birth, as they say, but I know my mother and my father both speak vernacular languages. And growing up in an environment where people predominantly speak Afrikaans, I'd feel ashamed as my ma en my pa Sotho met mekaar praat. Ek sê nie waarheid, my bro.
Yes.
You know, and when I go back to the streets, some things would be said about that, and that makes me feel like, hey. And then I would be transferred, because now with my father gone, my mother has to go to work. She would send myself and my sister, sometimes me alone, go to your, and because of being naughty, sometimes I'm too naughty in Eldos, they say nee, stuur ek kind so toe daar by my ouma. As ek of ons gaan maar net for holidays. It wasn't always I needed to be sent away, but I did move around, you know.
Okay.
Especially after my father was gone also. So as ek ga is by my African family,
Yes.
ek ken nie so goed so goed Sotho praat nie.
Tswana,
Nou praat hulle, nou verstaan ek nie. Nou probeer ek praat, verstaan jy?
Yes.
Nou lag hulle my uit. Nou feel ek, nou daar kom het nou identification crisis, verstaan jy? Identity crisis, daar wat ek ken, as ek daar.
So, tracking back,
was
ek dink, omdat ons centered is rondom your father and so on, don't you think that he failed you in that way?
It's a strong word to use, my man. Hey.
I'm asking because I think, like, for instance, they were speaking Sotho. Hoe kan jy nie wel Sotho gepraat het nie?
I guess they just didn't take the time to teach us. I was gonna have to learn that by myself. But they expected us to pick up, you know. But it's confusing. Hulle praat nou in Afrikaans, dan praat hulle die. As jy daar bo ander cousins en aunties is, hulle almal praat Afrikaans, maar nou en dan as hulle saam met mekaar praat, dan praat hulle Sotho. Like hulle skidder. No,
Okay,
so that actually, and when I said I'm blessed, I know I'm blessed because jy ken al we know.
Yes.
I can speak a lot of languages.
Come on.
En as hy goed is wat gemaak het, ek moet my ore bietjie skerper maak.
Yes.
En ek moet my tong bietjie laat klap, verstaan jy? En
Yes.
ek moet mistakes maak en ek moet uitgelag word en it's all good, I guess. And
Yes.
because of that, I'm blessed today. I can understand and I can communicate effectively in other languages.
Yeah.
But my father never failed me.
Okay.
It's just he never took
He
the
never
time.
taught you.
Yeah, him and my mother, but they probably never took the time to formally
Teach you the language.
Yeah.
Teach you the
know,
language.
and also we went to predominantly colored schools where there isn't vernac as part of the curriculum. English Afrikaans.
Okay.
Yes,
That's understandable. So, what I want to ask you next is that how did your mother feel when you now wanted now to step in his shoes while he wasn't absent? Like, let me not put it in that way because she can only answer for her side. But how did you feel as a young man now that you had to step in his shoes while he's not present? Was your brother older than you?
He is, yeah.
He is older than you. And he should have stepped in that shoes, but you tried to step in it.
I think I suffer from that even today. I don't think I consciously did it at the time.
Yeah.
I can only see now as life unfolds and you mature a little bit and because I'm not using drugs anymore and you can look at things from a clearer mind.
Yes.
With a better perspective. Do I see to say, you know what, I didn't consciously do that. It's probably natural instinct.
Okay.
You know, natural instinct that I thought that, hey, my father's not here, I must not do that. But in the midst, I was still doing stuff that boys are supposed to do, like be a boy.
Come on.
But I think I got confused there, where I need to be a boy, but I want to be a man, and there's nobody there to teach me how to be a man. So I get stuck in the middle, and I do stuff deur mekaar. End result, confusion.
Confusion. And I think, I want to ask, do you think for you being confused, not knowing how to be a man, and did cut you off your opportunity to be a boy?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I ended up not doing a lot of things that boys do. Because I ended up hanging around with bigger people.
Yo.
And people my age at the time, they weren't doing that stuff.
Sure.
And still having to hide it. Because ons kom bietjie van 'n era ook daar wat ons ook nie goed is net so los gedoen het nie. Ons het altyd nog probeer goed as wegsteek. Even if you were smoking funny substances and stuff, even like a cigarette, jy try nog steeds bietjie om het weg te steek. Jy sal hier deur bossies toe gaan om jou dagga en goedes te gaan rook. Of ons rook indoors in 'n yard en goedes soos hy. But yeah, you end up becoming, you're only a small boy when you have to be sent. Met die groot top is still reality daar so. Still reality.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what are you being sent for?
Yo.
Sorry, alright.
Okay. So, hoe kom jy nou reg sê? Are you still trying to prove that you are okay? Do you think you're too much sometimes? Do you realize it in the moment or afterwards?
The amount of backlash I got, sy roep haarself 'n vrou van die Here, on my Instagram inboxes, maar sy coach for them. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody, as you will, it say it, but let's deal with it and move on.
We are actively seeking sponsorship to support our weekly prison visits, outreach travel, food drives, and rehabilitation drop-offs. Every partnership helps us reach another life, another family, another future. Because behind every addict is a soul worth saving. Helping the Next Addict Foundation, restoring lives, rebuilding hope.
Let's move into now the coming to recovery part, right? How did that happen? First, before we get there, just give a small brief. How long did this addiction continue, and when was the breakthrough? How did that day happen?
Okay. Jy kan ek like elaborate bietjie op baie goedes.
Yes.
Maar as wat
Vat jou tyd.
So addictions gaan altyd 'n part van my is. I'm just not a using addict. Constantly in the process of trying to better myself. Without using complicated net and groter dimensions. But yeah, so using, it's actually, when I came into recovery, I thought it was just about 22 years. Going through the process of 12-step work, I later discovered that it's actually about 27 years because there was a time when I was doing some work and I was not far. My mother was in close proximity and I ended up asking her, Ma, when did you all really start, reprimanding me for using? And she started crying and she said, it was back when you were like 7.5 years old. Then we could already see dat die kind gebruik goed as wat maak, hy moet nie homself was nie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can remember from as early as about that age, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10, my father beating me for using something. Be it inhalants, like I said before. And I know my grandmother owned Shabin. That's what they called it back then. Excuse me. It wasn't a tavern, it was a Shabin. And we were responsible for cleaning up the tables when we go weekend. So all my cousins would end up at my grandmother's Shabin on weekends. And we'd be responsible for clearing up the tables, you know. Yeah. And the people who drink usually leave a little bit honor, and as we carried, I can remember I can remember so clearly. It was nog hy ou cardbox kaste.
Yeah.
It was in die plastic oudjies van nou nie. And yeah, when we take them to the back to go and put them in that boxes, we'd usually
vacuum out the
leftovers, yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably got drunk from leftovers. That's the effect that stuff have on me. Yeah, but in a general way, 27 years of act of addiction, using, stealing, lying, cheating, conning, and everything that goes with using. Never started off badly, but it progressed over the years, and addiction only picks up speed with progression. The more you use, the worse it becomes. Very same thing that you end up saying you'll never use, you'll end up using it.
So we had a conversation, I think it was weeks ago, since you my sponsor never mentioned it to the people.
You
but
did. You did.
So we had a conversation and you told me that you were somewhere in the bush.
Okay.
Staying in the bush. You remember that?
Yeah,
now I want you to come with that part, because that was now the key.
Okay.
To where you are today.
Right. So just before that, I want to bring my father back into this. Right.
Okay. Yes.
So my father, with drugging goes crimes and street crimes and violence and a lot of stuff, and I ended up being arrested in 2008. And I stayed a long time in Sun City, awaiting trial, and couldn't get bail. And when I did get bail, there wasn't enough money, and my father had since come back from prison. Mind you, my father went to prison, I was a little boy. My father came back from prison, I had a little boy. So I already had a son, and I'm arrested, and my brother was gonna come and bail me, and he never showed up, and I went back to Sun City, and
what happened? Did he go smoke the money?
No, let's leave that. let's
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to paint people bad. No, none of them.
Okay, no stress. Okay.
That's my blood. Yeah. But anyway, so my father, without expecting him to be in the court that day, I went to court, and I think it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday that we went to court, and I got the bail. Not I got the bail. It was said again that they said the bail has been set.
He's still standing.
Yeah, the bail is still standing. Do you see anybody here in the courtroom that can help you? That's here for you. No, not that can help you. That's here for you. I thought there was nobody, but when I turned around, my father was there.
Sure.
My father was there, and he just nodded at me and he left. And 2 days later, my father came to bail me. That was on the 8th of May 2008.
Yeah.
On the 8th of May 2008, my father bailed me out of Sun City, and he walked me home. He not walked me home, he took me home. And he wasn't staying at home.
Now, was that now after the 20 years?
No, I'm still in active addiction.
Okay.
2008,
But
I'm still using.
Just tracking back. So after the 20 years you went to prison, you had contact with him before that?
Yeah, we did have contact, not much. I'm still a little bit resentful.
I just wanted to get like that clear. Yeah. So it wasn't the first time after the 20 years?
No.
Okay.
So when he came out, we did meet up a few times, and I did go work again with him a few times because I wasn't working anymore. That's what addiction had done to me. I'm unemployable. My father took me on. He was a good businessman and a good man that could work with his hands, build nicely. And so we did meet up a couple of times. I'm not staying in Eldo's. I got a family and all that stuff. And when he fetched me, he brought me home.
Now home is to where?
To Eldo's, to where my mother lives, but he wasn't living there.
Okay.
And on our way home, my father, that was the first, I think after a very long time, that was the first genuine conversation I really had with my father. And the conversation was around, at the time he's already 70 plus years maybe, if not more, just about to get to 70. I think, I'm not sure about the numbers. Yeah, the numbers. But he says to me, I know I haven't spent a lot of time with you. Can I just spend some time with you?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, and my mind is, I'm an addict. I want to be with him. That's the right thing to do. But my mind is saying, you need to get to where you need to get to so that you can do what you need to do.
Place where you want
Yeah,
to be.
so, and in that conversation, he says, I know I haven't been the best father. And I haven't been around. And if there's one thing I just want for you, I just want you to come right. Stop all the stuff that you're doing. Stop this thing. See where I have to fetch you. But stop the smoking things of yours. And obviously, I told you I had a listening problem from a very young age. It went in here, it went out there. That very same day I moved, I went to news. That was the Friday. The Saturday, I remember well, there was a Chiefs and Pirates game playing, and he invited me to where he was living. He says, come here and just come and hang around, let's watch the soccer and what. Same conversation. I couldn't stick around too long because the type of things that I was using couldn't make me sit still in one place.
Yes.
And I sat halfway through the game and I moved. My father actually called me to say he was aging, and he'd already picked up a lot of chronic diseases because of being where he was for a long time. But he didn't say he has cancer. He was that type van hy top is wat hy was hard tot by die laaste man.
Yes. Hy
So
wil
it-
nie vir jou om en om.
Yeah.
Stress dit.
Yeah, and he just said to me, hey, I'm going to the hospital. I've been doing hospital lately because I'm not well and whatnot. You've been seeing I can't work as effective as I used to. But yeah, I'm going to hospital and I'm going for an operation. I haven't told anyone yet, I'm telling you.
Sure.
And I said, okay, cool. And he went for the operation. And the weekend thereafter, I think he went like in the week on a Tuesday.
Sorry for the interruption. Like when he said he's going now for this operation and he hasn't told nobody, he's only telling you. How did that make you feel?
Now, only after when I got
Okay.
clean,
Okay.
when
While you were still inactive, you couldn't see those
Ek
things.
sien nie reg goed as nie daai tyd nie, verstaan nie?
Okay, it makes sense.
It only made sense when I got clean and I got to do some work around my relationship with my dad and relationship with my parents. Did I start seeing the deeper?
Yo.
So wat gebeur het was hy toe gaan visit. Hy was sharp op 'n weekend. I took my son and my daughter with. They were fortunate to have seen their grandfather.
Yo.
So ja. Hy het uitgekom, ek dink na 'n week. Something didn't go good with that op. He didn't say much. He just deteriorated, and a month later, on the 8th of June, my father passed away.
2008.
A month from the day he fetched me.
In prison.
Yeah.
Yo.
And my grandmother was still alive also, It's quite a lot of things around that. Maybe we don't have the time to talk about all of it. But yeah. I think that thing that he was asking about, it was probably not meant for him to see it, but I think he sees it now. He sees it now, wherever he is.
Do you think he's asking you like just to change, because now he came clean to you and said he wasn't the best of fathers and he was just asking you to change? Do you think that had an impact? But it didn't really show, because the reason why I'm asking you this, because I know there's a parent out there that has been like, I've been talking to the son, I've been talking to the child. You just said something, I asked you something and I said, how did that make you feel? You said you couldn't express or feel anything until you came into the program. Do you think some of us as addicts, we struggle to observe certain things that our parents or our spouses or anyone want us to, like for instance when they want, like your father asked you to change? Do you think we struggle to adapt in that way, or what do you think?
I think an addict's gonna get clean when he needs to get clean. When he wants to get clean.
Okay.
Not when he needs to, but when he wants to get clean, he's gonna get clean. It's a decision he makes after seeing a lot of things. Sometimes you don't have to see a lot of things, but it's a decision he'll make from within and nothing from without. But that thing that my father said, can you just change, it made a lot of sense to me at the time. Even though I didn't take heed of what he was really, really saying. But that moment when that's like a moment of clarity in my life. Where my father's telling me, I need to do something about my problem. And even though he was saying, I don't know how to help you. I tried. I wasn't there even to try properly to show you another way.
So after your father's death, so how long now did it take you to get into recovery?
Okay, so it took me like 4 years before I could come into recovery. 2010 was my first attempt, and I went for the wrong reasons, and I stayed out in active addiction after that.
Let me just break you off here. So if you have just left to give clarity, what is the wrong reasons and what is the right reason? Because I think we have so many reasons like for doing things, but when we get to recovery, what would you say is the wrong reason and what is the right reason?
Okay. Let me start with the right reason.
Okay.
For me, the right reason would be because I don't want to love like that anymore.
Okay.
As plain down and simple as I don't want to love like this anymore. I need something different.
Okay.
That's the right reason.
That's the right reason. Right. But let me, before you go any further, don't you think every addict wishes to live different than they're living today?
Yes, they do.
But when they get that opportunity, why do we fall back?
Because they're doing it for the wrong reason. And that wrong reason would be, I want to live a better life. I don't want to live this life anymore. But I'm going to do it so that my wife is pleased.
That's the wrong reason.
Yeah. I'm doing it for my children.
Okay.
I'm doing it because I just need this court case off my back.
Come on.
I'm doing it because I need a job. If I can just get a job after coming into recovery, I'll be fine. I'm doing it because if I can just get these people off my back that's been pestering me about these debts and this and that and this, I'm doing it because somebody said I must do it. Somebody asked me to do it. And when I got clean the first time, when I attempted to get clean the first time, I was obviously doing it because my wife had left me and she had taken the children, and I was staying alone in my grandmother's house in Soweto, and I was using every day. And when I came back, I just thought, no, it's gonna be now sharp there with my wife and the children. When I went back and it wasn't sharp.
Yeah.
And plus, they don't understand, and we try to make our families understand what addiction is or even what recovery is.
Was baie teleurgesteld in myself as 'n ma. Ek slat vir julle en ek waar nou nie weer pas slat ek slat hom.
Die seerste wat ek gehad het is dat hy matriekse uitslae gekry het en toe kan hy dit nie saam met ons deel nie.
Ek het in die stort gestaan en daai oggend kom dit iets oor my en ek sê Here, vandag gee ek Pernille oor aan U. Mold hom soos jy hom wil hê.
This video brings attention to the realities and challenges faced by families dealing with substance abuse, helping to educate the public about its impact, making it more relatable, and fostering empathy among viewers.
Ek het al die ways aan gedink om jou dood te maak. Ek het die plakkie. Ek wil die bloed aan my hande hê nie.
you started the journey of recovery on the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
So how did it now come that you come and do it now for the right reason, and when did it happen?
Right. For me, and I'm gonna speak for me. For me, desperation. I had become so desperate to live something different.
Yeah.
I had nobody in my circle. When I say nobody, I mean nobody.
Yeah.
My mother was alive, but I was staying 500 meters away from my mother's house in a bush.
Sure.
Like most of the people that has heard my share before knows, you know. I didn't care about my children. I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care about work. I didn't want work. I didn't want my mother's love. I didn't care about the marriage that I was in at the time. I didn't want money. I didn't need anybody's help anymore. I was enough. I had enough, you know. The people that I was using, I didn't even, you know, I didn't even have to say to them I want to change, you know. I just woke up that morning of the 1st of Feb 2012, and I found myself walking first. I remember walking to my mother's house to go and grab whatever I had there. She asked, where you going? I said, I'm going to that place that I went to before. She gave me a ShopRite packet with 30 jeans and 2 or 3 t-shirts in.
Yeah.
And I left. And as I walked out, I met up with my son. He was 12 years at the time. He looked down and asked me for a 2 rand while he was looking down. I couldn't give him. I didn't feel all of that.
Yo, why would you think he looked down?
He was ashamed of who I had become.
Yeah.
He couldn't look at me. He didn't even call me daddy. He couldn't even call me anything. He couldn't call me by my name. When he speaks to me, he just speaks. No, he never addressed me.
Yo, give me the cup. No,
Yeah,
dad,
yeah,
can I
yeah.
please have this? Give me the cup. And
No dad, no Anwar, no nothing. When he speaks, he just starts the sentence and he finishes the sentence. And he usually doesn't look at me when he speaks. And that was the last thing I remembered of me being in active addiction and in interaction with him. Crossing paths as I'm walking out of my mother's house, a yard, to walk 15 kilometers to the place where I went to. And the last person I came into contact with was an old school friend. He owned a shop. I hadn't eaten for days. He since sold the shop. He owned a food shop, fast food shop, and I stopped there and he said, check how you look and what. And I said, yeah, my man, I'm going somewhere to go and try and change my life. I'm a little bit hungry. He got a bunny chow made for me and he gave me a Coke. And I took it. I just said thank you in a shameful way and I left. And I can almost feel how he was looking at me as I walked away. You know, my school friend who I started my first day in school with.
yo,
And I ended up under a bridge and I ate my bunny chow all with my dirty hands and dirty. And I walked 15 kilometers
towards the place now.
to the treatment facility.
Okay.
To the treatment facility that I went to. And that
So when you
that was my long walk to freedom. If I must put it like that, you know. That walk, I got back and I walk and
Yo.
I didn't know that was the last time I'm gonna ever use.
Yo.
And ever gonna. I didn't know that was how my journey started. And from there I haven't looked back. You
Yo.
know, and my journey is still continuing.
Yo.
My journey is
yo.
still I blessed that day.
Yo. So when you got at the treatment center, did they just welcome you? How was the welcome? What happened? All those things.
So because I was coming back for the second time
Okay.
to this very same treatment facility, it was still the same caretaker that was still there.
Yo.
After I stayed out in active addiction for 13 months, and it got to the worst where I had to become desperate. And when I walked in and knocked at the door. When that uncle opened the door, he gave me the two things that I needed the most. First, he gave me hope in the form of telling me it's going to be okay, because he could see shame and guilt, embarrassment, dereliction, degradation written all over my face and deep in my soul.
Yeah.
And he said it's gonna be okay. But he gave a condition to that, it's gonna be okay. He said, provided you're gonna listen now. That was my first lesson in learning how to listen.
Sure.
And my first lesson in humbling myself to become teachable.
Yeah.
That was the first thing he gave me. He gave me hope. And that's what my recovery is based on, hope. The second thing was that he had given me is the strongest spiritual principle I've come to know. He gave me love.
Yeah.
Love in the form of a hug. We don't give hugs from where I come from, you know. Just a mean word, but yeah, that hug, the love meant a lot, and it set me up to want to do the next right thing. And all I could do was humble myself. It was not easy. Going to rehab, I just told somebody earlier today, it can be the hardest thing that an addict who wants to change should do, you know. Rehab, simple way for me, it just speaks to revisiting my old habits and how they've worked for me or haven't worked for me, and what I'm going to do about it. So yeah, I didn't know. I've heard about this 12-step treatment before, and I didn't know much, and this time I really wanted to know. I went through heavy withdrawals because of the drugs that I was smoking. It was a 14-day rehab, and after 14 days you have to go home. Not like today where the guys stay for 6 weeks and 3 months. And yeah, so after 14 days, fortunate for me, the owner of the rehab, who has since passed on, I had asked him maybe like on the 11th day if there's a possibility for me to stay maybe 2 or 3 days longer, and he said no, because it was a free rehab, and there was a lot of people on a waiting list waiting to come in, and as soon as your time finishes up, you have to go, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember not sleeping for 11 nights and that's why I asked him the question. Only after the 11th night did I sleep at night.
Sure.
And when I woke up that morning, I think that was one of the many highlights of my journey, is that I had slept a peaceful sleep. And that prompted me to want to stay a few days longer so that I can get a little bit more deeper into the program. But yeah, it was a no. And just a day before I had to leave, one guy decided he was going to send him out of the rehab, and they spoke to him, trying to convince him to stay. And he eventually jumped the wall.
Yes.
And you know, they said it as a joke, you know, the gates at that place stays open from 6 until about 9-10, and the gates will be open, but the addict will jump the wall. That's there, you see. So after he had jumped the wall, without realizing, I was getting ready to go home, and the uncle said, I think your prayer has been answered. That guy had another week left, so you can just take the days that he had left, and I think that's how God works. And the uncle saw I was serious. God felt I needed a few more days there, and after that, it was all listening and learning and listening and learning and learning how to listen and listening to learn. And I was always first in all the sessions. I cleaned the toilets in rehab. You know, that was I was willing to do whatever I could, because I had realized that this place was going to give me something of high value.
Sure.
And if it meant cleaning the toilet to get this thing, that was what I was gonna do. I would clean the yard. Another highlight: the uncle that gave me that hug we had duties, right? Because we cook self, clean self, all of that. Not like your high-end rehabs that we have today. So I was cleaning this garden in the morning. It was my turn to clean the garden, and I was cleaning it nicely, and he was playing some gospel music in the background as we were cleaning and doing our chores, and I was crying listening to that. I can't even remember what songs it was, but and I'm not one for gospel music, but on that day that music spoke to me and I started crying, and I didn't know that this uncle was looking at me while I'm crying and cleaning, and he said, "Boyke, I can see you quite emotional." And it's a good thing, and I didn't understand, but the highlight was, he said, "I see you cleaning this garden so nice, please clean your life in that very same way." And that meant a lot for me, clean your life in that. And I didn't know, I was set up, man, and I was fired up. I had to leave. Not very long after that, I left, and I went back almost every day to that rehab. I would walk to that very same 15 kilometers again
But this time you were cleaner.
I was cleaner. I was just going back every day to go and listen in and learn more and be with the new guys that are coming in and encourage them and learn from the older ones that are coming. And soon they were having recovery events here and there, and I wasn't even 3 months and I was asked to speak. And I didn't know how to speak like I speak today. I would stand up at that podiums and say a few words and cry, and cry just out of gratitude for having an opportunity to change my life, and it looks and it feels good because these older guys were telling me that I'm gonna be okay, and I'm doing okay, and my recovery took on a new dimension, I remember one old timer with I think 30 plus years, after having shared a little bit on what I have learned, walked up to me and said, you hold on to what you have, boy, hold on to what you have. And it felt good, a guy with over 30 years of being in recovery and giving me the heads up on what I'm doing and telling me to hold on to it. That meant a lot, Obviously, with recovery comes a lot of challenges. I still had challenges at home, challenges with the kids, challenges with staying with my mom. My marriage was already, in a place where,
So Anwar, just to break you up there, you are now clean now for 13 years, ne?
Yes,
and I think we should come back again with a part 2 of your story. But I just want to ask you this question. You say that uncle said you must clean your life the way you clean the garden. How have you been cleaning your life for the past 13 years?
I wouldn't say exactly like the garden.
but
I'm working on it. So to be precise, in the next 2 days, and I'm not even gonna say God willing. Because God has been willing for 13 years, 5 years, man.
Yes.
God has been willing to drive me. God has been willing to assist me through the challenges, through pain, through not having a job, through having struggles with my children and in my marriage, and a lot of stuff. Life happens, life happens to everyone. It's not just us recovering addicts. And to stay focused on your recovery, it takes a lot, and I can definitely say God, my man. At the top of everything, it's God,
It's God,
but I'm never gonna take away all the people that contributed to my recovery and continues to contribute. I would say contributed because some of those people are no longer around. And they instilled lifelong lessons into my spirit. I speak of some of those people every day without me noticing I'm speaking about them, and there's times when I really notice that this is what so and so said, this is what I learned while I was in rehab from so and so, and one of those people is my sponsor, who I had an opportunity to walk alongside for 10 years, and he lives forever, man. That guy lives forever. Your grand sponsor, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and all of the other people that have contributed from the newcomer that walks in. They won't even know how much they helped me, to my current sponsor, to the networks I've made from across the world, to people at my home group, you know, to people I work with and worked with before, to addicts who has reached out to me and said, I am not in a good space. They don't know how much they've helped me.
Sure.
You know? The addict that I spoke to today, you know, and I'm not gonna speak too much about her now, maybe at some other stage,
Yes,
but
maybe.
she brought tears to my eyes, you know,
Yo.
today, and we cried together, you know, and I'm hoping I'm gonna see her tomorrow. You know, I'm fortunate enough to work in the treatment industry now, and I get to be around addicts all the time, most of the time. And yeah, what a beautiful way of turning around your life, but not by yourself, with the guidance of others, and most importantly, with God's grace, mercy, and love and care surrounding you all the time amidst everything that's happening.
Yeah.
We know we had COVID.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people succumb to their addiction during that time. Yeah, no meetings, no direct contact with the fellowship and stuff like that. But yeah, God, you have direct
God has
contact
always
all
been
the
there.
time, you know. And
Yes.
what you've learned, you need to harness that, and you need to want to keep on to that. Like, your life depends on it, because it does.
Yeah.
Without taking away from anybody, my current partner, my mother, my children, the people that love me dearly, even the ones that maybe that I don't see eye to eye with, even them, you know, the people that I learn from, they're the
Yes.
people that I learn from also, you know. And I don't think I don't love anybody. I love everybody. I just probably most of the time don't get along with everybody.
Sure.
But that's life, you know, and I just know that I need to become a better human being.
Yo, Anwar, yo, you said so much, bro. I wanna thank you for coming through. I strongly believe that your story still needs more episodes, not even one. It still needs more episodes. We still need to go back into your active. There's certain parts like your marriage that you spoke about. We never touched that part of your recovery, of your addiction, and we didn't even touch the part of your current recovery, because 10 years, if I can just imagine, we have to dive in deep. And I wanna thank you for coming through, bro. I strongly believe that your story will really inspire someone. Your story will really touch someone's life. So guys, this is Thapelo. I'm signing out today with the following words to say that principles before personalities, as we move forward into the program, as we move forward into the journey. You know the drill. Please subscribe and like, and you'll get our next podcast on the next season or next episode. Thank you for joining us.
Can I say something to close
Yes,
off?
you can say something, bro.
In closing off, it's an absolute pleasure for you guys to be here. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm honored that you guys have invited me.
Yeah.
And after all is said and done, may we give the glory to the one who needs it. And that one is God.
Come on now.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
When your parents spoil you coming out of prison, it's a no-no. Because then that tells me, ek gaan of jou hart gaan rook as ek weer mangie sal weer daar is.
It put me so down that I actually bought sleeping tablets. That's how my depression ate me. And I was ready to take my life.
Sure.
The saddest day in the life of an addict is the day the addict finds recovery without purpose.
Yo.
Because I can be clean, but I can be idle and a playground and recipe for disaster.